Hello, and welcome to another episode of Just Cuz, the podcast where two cousins talk about things they love.
Just cuz today we are talking about someone who is strong, someone who is unkillable, undefeatable, someone who is possibly
Invincible.
dun dun.
And they teased that so many times in this first episode.
My gosh.
I didn't count it, but...
Okay, so today we're going to do a slight recap of season 1 of Invincible, but we're mostly going to be focusing on the first episode of season 2 of Invincible, which just dropped this last week. And you're absolutely right. They teased it throughout the whole episode. So in the first season of Invincible, they would never do the title card until somebody set up a sentence where the last word of the sentence was clearly going to be invincible. And then right before somebody says it, bam, there's a title card. And you never hear anyone say
music
invincible.
Plays. It's fantastic.
It's amazing. It ends the first episode incredibly, and then it just goes from there. It's great. And they decided to start this season by just teasing the hell out of that. They said invincible so many times, and each time there was a huge pregnant pause, and you're like, is it gonna be it? Nope.
Nope. Not this time.
Nope.
We're waiting.
We're gonna get into it in a second, but at the beginning, I was like, I know this isn't real because the title card didn't come up. I was like...
We will get into it later, but first... Sasha, what is your journey with Invincible?
My journey with Invincible is that we were at our grandparents' cabin and you said, Sasha, watch this. And you made me watch all of Invincible in like one night.
And it was fantastic.
It was fantastic and I don't regret a moment of it, but that's my journey with it. What's your journey with it? That was like what, like 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was when it first came out.
Yeah, it was it had just dropped.
I was lucky enough to get into the comic and I read the whole thing in maybe a week. Like I just stayed up all night, every night reading Invincible. And yeah, I loved it so much. And about a year after I binged that comic, they had the show announced. And I was so excited and giddy. And I had to wait, I can't even remember how long. It was probably another year after that just to get the actual show.
Yeah,
and
it was
good wait. Perfect. And every week I waited with just bated breath for this show to come out. And Amazon would drop it. And I think they dropped the first 3 episodes at once. And I instantly fell in love. It cemented this comic and this show as probably being my favorite superhero thing ever.
I was just going to say, yeah, I think when we watched it together, it was like very soon after that because I think it was only the first 3 episodes that we watched.
Yeah.
And because I do remember waiting week to week for it to come out. And boy, was it a journey. My God.
I mean, we can kind of go over the highlight reel of the first season because there's some memorable stuff that will impact the future.
There absolutely are. The first thing that I want to say is that the cast of Invincible is absolutely stacked, okay? Steven Yeun plays Mark. Fuck, what's his last name?
Grayson.
Grayson, that's it.
Because it's a play on Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. No, I know. But I don't know why. I never go Mark Grayson. That's not the first thing that comes to my head. Anyway, Steven Yeun plays Mark, and he does it so well. And J.K. Simmons, legend, plays the great J.K. Simmons plays his father. Something. What's his real name? Nolan, god damn it. I'm not going to remember any of their real names.
The mustachioed man, Nolan.
Grayson, a.k.a. Omni-Man. The Superman type villain. I mean, wait, no, the Superman type hero. Damn it, I ruined it. No, if you're here, you should have seen Invincible. And if you haven't,
you should have been long into Invincible. We're going to get into many, many, many spoilers for Invincible. So
absolutely
go watch it and then listen to this episode. because we're probably going to talk everything, even speculation for future events. But first,
100%.
that first twist in the first episode is so incredible, and it will be forever cemented in time. It's incredible at pulling the rug out from the audience. And despite the fact that I had read the comic and knew that it was coming, the way that it's edited, the way that the sound cutouts, other than just the hits and the grunts of pain and just torture, it is masterful.
It is. Let's say what that twist is. It's the series starts out. It seems pretty plain cut. They're the guardians, not of the galaxy, but of the world or something.
Of the globe.
Globe, that's it. The guardians of the globe. They're basically the Justice League. There's a Wonder Woman. There's a Batman. There's a Flash. There's a Ghost, not in the Justice League, but whatever. You know, there's lots of archetypal superhero characters.
I was about to try and name them all, but there's no way I could do that. They are just straight up the Justice League.
They're just
and then
the
for some
Justice
reason
League.
they have Vandal Savage as
a
member there.
And for some reason he looks just like Wolverine. He looks like if you were gonna draw a comic version of Wolverine, but have the power set of Vandal Savage, and also can
he
fly.
Also kind of looks a little bit like Abraham Lincoln,
yeah,
which is funny because he is.
Yeah, he is. That's true. He's an immortal being who can't die, who is also Abraham Lincoln. It's hilarious. But anyway, then there is the Superman archetype character who's not necessarily in the Guardians of the Globe. That is Mr. Omni-Man. And he's not a member of the Guardians of the Globe, but he helps out from time to time with them. And he is, again, the father of Mark Grayson. He has a beautiful wife played by Sandra Oh, the great, amazing Sandra Oh. And
he's already explained to Mark that he's from another planet, that and this planet is so gracious and goes around helping others because they're so strong and they want to give that gift to others just by helping them.
And at the end of the episode, it's revealed that, well, it's not really revealed anything, but Omni-Man just kills the rest of the Guardians of the Globe. He just destroys them all in one masterful battle sequence.
And like he goes in for a punch and he misses it because the fast guy Red Rush goes in and, you know, saves him. But then he grabs Red Rush's head and then in slow motion crushes it. And that's the moment, because that's the first sight of blood in this entire show. And there's a whole lot of it. The way that it continues on with just the severity of the gore.
It's truly gruesome.
Getting their head caved in.
Yeah.
It's masterful, but wow,
it's truly terrifying. When I first saw it, I was absolutely not expecting it and very, very shocked. I thought it was going to be a by the numbers superhero show, and it was more like The Boys. It's basically The Boys, but animated, but not everyone is terrible. Only one person is terrible, and they're really, really terrible.
And that's what this comic is all about, which is what I loved about this show. And I mean, you can clearly tell it's the same exact writers, Robert, I cannot say his name, Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
And just the whole team behind it. They did such a masterful job of changing the slight things to give it some cultural relevant changes, but just at its core, it's the same. And even at least 70% of it is word for word what the comic is. And I gotta stop just rapping on about the comic and how fantastic it is, but Sasha, I love it so much.
I know, it's
so glad
really
we get
good.
a show.
It's really, really good. I even almost read it, and that's that's a huge praise from me. I almost read it. I don't read comics much, but the fact that I almost read it, I started it. And that's high praise. I started that, and I started Watchmen. So that's super high praise for me. as
Well,
far as
Watchmen is
comics
also
go.
one of the greatest pieces
It
of
is, and
literature.
I liked
So
it. I didn't stop reading it because I didn't like it. I just don't jive with the format of comics. It's not how I like to read.
it's fun when it gets creative, not like the nine
Yeah.
square.
I like the
But
Deadpool ones where he jumps between the panels. I think that's fun.
it's fun when She-Hulk does that too, and
Yeah.
she's trying to get like to a base, but then she tears through the ads.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Anyway, Invincible.
Yes.
um okay, so basically over this season, a lot of things happen. We'll talk about them as they come
Mhm.
up. But basically over the season we find out that Omni-Man, his race of people, Viltrumites, they're called. Um,
Yes.
they are not nice people. They're not going around helping the universe. They are vicious, vicious colonizers. They are
They're
murderers.
just a whole
They are
empire.
awful. And they live forever, and they are invincible, pretty much. And
But it is important to know that they all believe they're doing right by the universe by spreading out their empire of savagery.
that's what all colonizers think. And they're all wrong. Leave everyone else
Yes.
alone and shut the fuck up. Anyway.
Before we talk about the Viltrumites, I should say that over the course of this season, there are a lot of just minor villains. And you even said earlier, the cast is just stacked with A-list actors. Like, for instance,
we got everyone. Go ahead.
I was going to say Titan, who is a very small villain, is voiced by Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
And that's just insane. And you know that he will play a bigger role. And obviously he does.
Yeah. We got Mark Hamill being the guy who made Mark's costume. That's his role.
As Art.
Yeah. His
Art's
name is
great.
Art and he makes art. And there's John Hamm who played Steve. I don't even remember who Steve is, but he was there.
Do you remember the two people having the conversation in the first episode?
Oh my
God. And then
God.
one almost died? I'm pretty sure one of them is John Hamm.
That's probably true. Damn.
But yeah, this cast is fantastic, but more than that, there is just no small roles. And that's just true in the writing of this show, is everyone is important, not just Mark and just his core cast around him.
Yeah.
Everyone plays a role.
Yeah. So let's break down the characters real quick. We got Mark. We got his girlfriend. She becomes his girlfriend over the first season. Amber. She's awesome. We've got his best friend, played by Jonathan Groff. I don't remember his name in the show, but he's played by Jonathan Groff. No, wait, no. He's played by Andrew Rannells. That's it.
What?
Because he's William.
What is his name?
William.
William, yes.
Jonathan Groff is someone else, and I don't remember who. It's the two Broadway people that I always mix up. Anyway. Don't come for me, Broadway
I should
fans.
also say, William in the comics is super annoying. Love the changes to him.
Yeah. I love Andrew Rannells. I love Jonathan Groff as well. Please don't come for me, Broadway stans. I'm one of you. They're both white, and I mix it up. Okay, I'm sorry.
And we also have Eve.
Eve, yes. There's Adam Eve.
She's got cool Green Lantern-ish powers, but she can also control atoms.
She is
which
played...
is just overpowered.
Yeah, she's played by Gillian Jacobs. And I don't think it's overpowered. You know why? Because when we were kids, and whenever anybody would ask me, oh, what superpower would you have? Everyone was like, oh, I would fly. Oh, I would have telekinesis. Oh, I would turn invisible. Or I would have telepathy, whatever. I'd be like, no. I would want to be able to control molecules. And everyone's like, that's so boring. And I was be like, no. Then I could do anything. I could literally do anything. That's the best power. You control molecules. You control the world. You control life itself. That's
and I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to ruin the show for anyone because this show will be out for years to come. But yeah, Adam Eve being able to literally do anything, that will probably come into play.
Oh, I fucking hope so. I want her to either take over the world or just win all the time. Any side that she's on should win.
Yep. But we also have Debbie Grayson, which is Nolan's
That's
wife
Sandra
and
Oh,
Mark's
yes.
Mark's
Um,
mom,
and
who
then
goes through quite a ringer
oh my god.
in this
It's
show.
awful. Her husband says he views her as a pet after
Which is just like,
20
whoa.
years together and a child, and he views her as a pet. It's the most disgusting and awful thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, Omni-Man, I was like, yeah, you murdered all those people, but that's the worst thing you've done.
We will get into it more later, but I think that was him trying to convince himself. But again, literally the worst thing he could have said. And then he says her life just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I just think that is his worldview. That's how he's raised. That's how everyone on his planet is. I think, I think in his own freaking twisted, crazy ass way, he does love Mark, but I don't think that he doesn't view anyone else as anything other than they'll die soon. What do they matter? They're unimportant. So
Okay, I just want to get into it now because initially, and this is when I was reading the comic, I thought the cool twist of this having a Superman character was that Krypton still existed. But no, the twist is that not only Krypton exists, but it's full of Zods. And that is so amazingly cool. And this, like, Zod character that goes around colonizing planets. But the entire thing is, and what I think we're going to get into in season 2 especially, is how much that 20 years changed Nolan, because all of the damage and all of the death that he did was so horrific, but I think he did it to the point of, I'm going to kill as many people as possible to prove my point.
yeah.
It's insane, but there's definitely some kind of narrative there.
I mean, we're gonna have to see. Like, obviously, stuff from the comics, but they, like you said, they do adaptation changes. They could take a different turn. I don't know how they're gonna treat him and his, I don't know, psychosis? No, his worldview. Um,
Again,
and
I shouldn't say too much.
don't
Other
say anything. Don't say
we'll
anything.
see him this season.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure. I'm sure
And
he's not going.
and also the Viltrumites are pissed because he left a planet.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see that.
I mean, you don't use your son as a weapon to kill
battering
hundreds
ram.
of thousands of people if you're not in a little bit of trouble from your boss, right?
But also he flew away and had some tears, and like, that's sad, but that's not enough, man. You got
No,
a lot
course
of
not.
work to do
And he had
to reconcile,
tears.
if he even wants to.
Yeah. Well, he leaves and okay, so basically things come to a head at the end of season 1 and Mark finds out all the stuff about his father, and then that he killed the Guardians of the Globe and that he's terrible generally. And
And I was waiting for this fight all season. In the back of my mind, I knew they would wait for the season finale to do it, but I was hoping that, like, episode 4, the mid-season finale. No,
that's too soon.
no, they're gonna wait for the perfect moment to do it, and it is the right moment, because this, honestly, the last 2 episodes, perfect.
Yeah. Nolan tries to prove his point to Mark. He tries to make Mark see that everything that Mark has grown up around, the entire world that Mark knows, is meaningless to Nolan. And he tries to prove that to Mark by, I'm going to repeat it again, using him as a battering ram weapon to kill thousands of people.
Like, so many people. And then he kills one person and he's like, hey, well, he also explains how long Viltrumites live and how, like, pure-blooded he is.
Ugh.
just from how potent
Ugh.
they are. But like they live for thousands of years, and the older they get, the slower they age, which Nolan has gray temples, so I'm just assuming how old he is, and so how
Eternal.
indoctrinated he is. It's crazy to think about, and how long Mark is going to live and what he is going to experience in the
Yeah.
future.
Well, Mark is half human, so maybe it would be different from him, but also I think he will live for a
No.
really, really long time. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they explained it, but I will also say like Mark is basically pure-blooded Viltrumite.
No. So that 50-50 genetics is just out the toilet,
Yep,
really.
no, it's out the
Out the
window.
window. Went out the toilet. I don't, I'm tired, man.
I mean, I am very, very tired too. I
Um,
was gonna say Nolan has some strong seed, but
gross.
Viltrumites
Ew.
have. I know, I'm way too tired.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Not when we start talking about seed. That's how you know it's going to be a chaotic rest of the episode. All right. Yeah. So season 2 starts and
So my thought process as this season started was, oh, Invincible and Immortal are training. Like this is pretty rough, but
yeah,
they're just training. It's all
that's
good.
what I thought too. So it starts with Mark fighting the Immortal, who survived. He survived Nolan
He always
killing
survives.
him
He's the Immortal.
twice. Yeah, he's immortal. That's like in his name. He doesn't die when you kill him. So, and that's what I thought too. I was like, okay, they're training, they're sparring, whatever. And then
Omni-Man flew in.
and then they rip the Immortal's head off, and Mark squishes it, like decimates his head, and I'm like, what the fuck? What
And
is
that probably
happening right
would
now?
kill the Immortal.
Oh yeah.
So he's dead.
My first thought was like, oh, this is a dream. Mark is dreaming what it would be like if he joined his father, right? And this is a nightmare, and he's gonna wake up and he's gonna be like, ah! But
No!
Uh, but that didn't happen. And then you see the rest of the world, and it's a dystopian hellscape. And there's a repeating video of Mark trying to tell all the people how good it is that he and his father have destroyed the world and how it's better off for everyone. And it's so creepy, and I hated it. And then it just repeats over and over again. And at the end of that video, he says, Invincible. And there's the first pregnant pause, and he's like, I'm invincible. And as soon as that didn't cut to the title sequence, as soon as he said that, I was like, this ain't real. This ain't our Mark. I was like, I knew it, but now I know no, you know?
So obviously me knowing the whole story, I knew that this was a separate universe. And even hearing that they had casted Angstrom Levy and hearing that he was going to be in the show, I was worried about this show having a multiversal element.
Me too.
But they get it right.
Well,
because it's just good.
You know what, like, I liked what I saw in the first episode, but I think we're gonna have to wait and see, because the first thing that I thought because like right after that, I was like, this is clearly a different universe, right?
Yep.
And the first thing I did, I watched it, and my friend was sitting right near me, right? And I looked at her and I was like, oh no, they're doing multiverse stuff, aren't they? And
but again, this was written more than a decade ago.
I know that. So was all the multiverse shit, except for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is amazing. But
yes.
You know, all of that stuff, multiverse is very old, big staple in comics, right? And I love it. I love the idea of multiverse. I always have. I love the cartoons. I love all that shit, right? But right now, the market is really, really oversaturated with multiversal stories, and oversaturated with bad multiversal stories. Poorly written, poorly executed multiversal stories that are just everywhere right now. There are some good ones, not all of them are bad. We stan Loki, we stan Everything Everywhere All at Once, we stan Into the Spider-Verses, but
we stan Flash. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
fuck
kidding.
you. No, we do not. You almost tricked me there. I wasn't listening. I was just like, yeah, no, he knows what I like. I'm going to agree. No. No, we do not stand the Flash.
I still had fun with it, but no. The Flash is honestly the reason why I was worried about the multiverse in this.
But then I hear the soothing voice of Sterling K. Brown, and my worries are squashed.
His
for
dulcet
a moment.
tones.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't think it'll be that bad. I think they can pull it off. I believe in them. The show is all about not subverting expectations. It's not really about that.
That is an element of this show.
It's definitely an element, but that's not what it's about. I think the show is about telling a compelling story. Or not about that, but I think that is what makes it interesting.
So what I love about the alternate dimensions and parallel Earths in this, Invincible storyline is it all ties into this. I think it's actually pronounced Levy. That's how they pronounce it in the show, but Angstrom Levy. And he just has the ability to travel to any universe. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously many, many villains in this show, but there's a handful, maybe 3, now that I can think of it. Just 3 nemesis. How do you say that? Nemesis that Mark has over his entire life. And Angstrom Levy is one of them.
No!
And I cannot wait to see it.
But he saved him in this episode. He was like...
Did he?
Well, at first he did. One of them did. He was so nice, and he was like, I'm not gonna build my utopia on blood, or I think he said that, and then I literally talked to the TV and I said, I like you got principles.
But then he pulled that thing off and then ruined the entire experiment, because he was trying to take infinite versions of his mind and put it into his singular mind, and it obviously would have broken him still, but he ruined the experiment, and now his entire back is a brain. And
that
he's
was pretty...
just puking out blood.
Yeah, that was pretty rank. That was pretty gruesome. I was like, whoa, okay. We're going hardcore into the unsettling visuals. I like it. Yeah, and it was clear, at least it was clear to me, the stuff that he was saying. He's got many minds in there now, but they're all one, sort of. Mm. But since in so many universes, Mark joins his father... And in this one, he doesn't.
Most other universes,
his father. He joins Omni-Man. So most of the brains inside this Levy guy are like, kill Mark. But this Mark is good.
He killed so many people.
Yeah. But this Mark is just a little bean. And he just wants to go to university
with
his girlfriend. Don't kill him, please.
Yeah, we should get into that, because after the whole parallel universe stuff in the beginning, we get a fantastic montage of Mark saving some people. And I need more of this stuff in superhero properties. Mm-hmm. Not this specifically, but superheroes saving people in any scenario. Maybe saving a cat from a tree,
Yeah. Saving more than one person, not saving the world from a big laser beam in the sky, saving people every day. He does something that was great, and I was like, oh, I never thought of that. And that's something a superhero should do, is pick up an ambulance where someone is dying and fly it really quickly to the hospital so that the person
love that moment.
doesn't die.
One of the EMTs was just freaking out, and then the other just kept on working.
She was like, I gotta save this guy. She was like, I'm doing my job, and I respect that.
And not just that, but Mark or Invincible fighting just C-list villains, like the Elephant, which is hilarious. His actual name. But the best part about that entire montage is Mark not being into it, his heart just not wanting it at all, and he's doing it out of pure obligation of, I killed so many people because I was a battering ram that my dad used. Mm-hmm. And I need to save people. And he even had the moment of seeing more C-list villains. Yeah. And he just gripped his fist and he was angry. He was like, no, no, I can't
He was like, I
let that
can't be
out.
angry. I can't be that person. And has so much guilt, even though it wasn't his fault. He was not autonomous. It was not any of
He
it was not his decision.
While he beat his father in a battle of wills, he was not physically up to the match.
Yeah.
He could not do it.
But I think the best part of that, like, was the end of the montage, and like was the rest of the episode for me, and the way that he, Mark, and Debbie, his mom, are dealing with what happened. And I talk to the TV. I do this a lot. And I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? I love a PTSD storyline. I really do. I love a well-written PTSD storyline. Okay, it's so interesting to me.
Of course they have PTSD.
Of course they do. It was
so
fucking traumatizing.
horrible.
All my favorite characters have PTSD. Okay.
All the best characters have PTSD.
Exactly. Every character in every book that I ever give the time of day has tons of PTSD.
And it's better for it.
And I want to see it more in films and TV, god damn it.
And Invincible has it in spades because people get fucked up.
Yeah. And you know
Especially
what?
Mark. He's
Yeah.
always getting punched to the point that he's nearly dead.
Yeah.
Like almost every episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's insane.
He's always fucked up and then he's just fine the next day. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
cool.
Viltrumites heal really quick,
Yeah.
so he's always good.
Yeah.
He could have his guts lying out, and then in a week he'll just be like, "All right, I'm ready to fight."
Yeah. You know, someone else who has lots of PTSD and I love her for it, that's Adam Eve.
Oh my goodness.
Samantha.
Just horrible parents too.
Eve.
Horrible dad, I should say.
Terrible parent. No, her mom sucks too, man. Did you see the Adam Eve
I feel bad
special?
for her mom sometimes.
I feel
but
bad for her a little bit, but not enough. No, you know
No.
what? She's all like, "Oh, you need to be normal." It's the same stuff as her dad. But it's not as front and center about it.
And her mom's also just a bystander to it.
Yeah, and that's still
I
abuse.
assume you watched the Adam Eve special.
Yes, of course.
It's so good.
So
oh my god,
good.
the way they dropped that just the day of. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Very, very excellent. Another shout out. We haven't seen him yet this season. We only saw him like twice last season. But Seth Rogen is Alan the Alien. Absolutely
goodness.
hilarious. Few minutes
He
that
is
he was on screen.
very important
Yeah, I heard.
in the whole narrative.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, just him being our liaison to the coalition of planets, which is the intergalactic web of people who are fighting against the Viltrumites. That obviously he's going to be important.
Yeah. There's also Zachary Quinto, who plays Robot / Rudy, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah. And there's Jason Mantzoukas, who plays Rex. And I freaking adore both of them. I adore both of them. I don't know who plays Monster Girl, though.
I have no idea. But I should ask, how do you feel about Robot?
How do I feel about Robot? I like him.
Yeah.
Well, first of all,
You like him?
I like any character that Zachary Quinto plays. But Robot was, at first I was like, oh my god, is he a villain? Is he like, is he infiltrating the Guardians of the Globe?
His face is even a little sinister, just the way he's designed.
Yeah, very pointy, very he reminds me of one of the robots from Futurama, but I don't remember which one. And it was one of the bad ones, but I don't remember.
I'm kind of imagining something, but no, I can't come up with a name. It's been so long.
Yeah. Anyway, Anyway, so Robot is like, he's like the liaison for the Guardians of the Globe and like the Teen Titan team or whatever. And then he becomes, after the Guardians of the Globe are dead, they make a new Guardians of the Globe with all of the Teen Titans people, which are Robot, Rexplode, Adam Eve, Duplicate, Monster Girl, Shrinking Ray? Is that her name?
I'm surprised you got her name. I had no idea what her name
She
was.
has like a ray or something. I don't know.
No, she just shrinks. She's Ant-Man.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
then
Black
what's his
Samson. Oh wait,
name?
no,
Black
Black Samson.
Samson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're all in it, and Robot, you're like, he's doing some shady shit. He's working with some villains, breaking the Mahler twins out of prison. You know,
But
um,
nah, he just wants to make himself a new body.
he just wants a body. He just wants to clone Rexplode's body and grow it as into a
Which is a little
child's
weird.
body, and then put his consciousness into it so that because he's in love with Monster Girl. Monster Girl, who's not a child. She's like what, 29, 28, something like that.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
she gets younger every time she turns. She's basically the Hulk, except every time she turns into the monster, she gets younger, so she looks like a child. So now Robot is also in the body of a child, and there are two adults who are in love, but they're in the bodies of children, and it's super weird.
Yeah, we'll
And
see
then,
that
yeah.
play out.
And then within the new Guardians of the Globe team, there's also another like love triangle-ish shape. There's like Rexplode and Adam Eve were dating at the beginning, but then Rexplode cheats on Adam Eve with Duplicate. This is so ridiculous.
Many
using,
duplicates.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous using all of their superhero names. It's so dumb. And then I don't know, they kind of like I don't know if the narrative teases at all that Mark and Adam Eve might
Oh yeah.
have something going on. I feel like it does, but then I'm also like, maybe it's just we expect
Sasha.
them to have something going on. Stop spoiling. I want to speculate on my own without
No.
you giving me those looks.
I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I can't help but give you a look.
Ugh.
But it teases it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I really like Amber. And I really like them together. And I'm so tired of the trope of the disposable love interest so that you can get with the main love interest. And that's who you were meant to be with all along. Blah, 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 blah. I hate it. It's so
I think
boring.
in the first episode of season 2, I had that exact same worry, but I'm sure we experienced the Mark and Amber getting their college letter scene differently, because I was so annoyed almost, because I was like, oh, don't do this. I mean, you're obviously going to go to college and you're going to have the horrible, like, I assume it's going to be written well, but it's not going to be a good relationship to watch. I hope maybe it. I don't want to say too much from the
do they just do they end up as a couple? Adam, Eve, and Invincible.
You want me to just say it?
No, I already know the answer is gonna be yes, but like it seems like they will. But the thing is like, because like that's clearly what it seems like. But what if?
And there is a lot more annoying will they won't they in the comic.
No.
And I feel like they're doing it a lot better.
Okay, you know what? This is a blanket statement I'm gonna make. First of all, that situation right there where there's two people who like one person, that's not a love triangle. I'm saying that right now. That is not a love triangle. That is a love angle, okay? It's not a love triangle unless all three sides are connected. Unless there are three people who all have feelings for each other. That is a love triangle. Otherwise, it's a love angle. And I'm so freaking tired of love angles, okay? They're all over popular media. Here's an idea, turn it into a love triangle, okay? And then solve it by making a thruple. That's just what should happen. That's the most interesting
But no one even likes love triangles either. And the horrible thing is...
when have you ever seen a love triangle? A real love triangle, as I've just defined it. When have you ever seen one in a movie or TV show?
I can't think of anything.
I'll tell you one that is, it doesn't start as a love triangle as I've defined it, but it ends as a thruple, which is very interesting.
Okay. And
You know the
what's
show. It's
that?
Insensate.
Oh, okay. You're right. You are right.
Yeah, but that's the only love triangle, quote unquote triangle. Not really, because two of them weren't in love with each other, but they ended in a thruple, and that's what matters. But they're boring. They suck. Twilight, boring. Hunger Games love triangle, boring. Most boring part of that whole series. I love the Hunger Games, but that's the most boring part. Okay, anything else that's been super super popular and's had a love triangle, boring. I don't care about that. Okay, stop it.
But I mean, no one likes when two people like one person and they're fighting over
Well,
that one person. No one has ever liked that.
well, maybe they're gonna change it. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna do something. Maybe it'll become a true love triangle and not a love angle.
And I feel like the only reason why this show has it is because the comic had it. It is better because I think in the comic, Amber and Eve barely even know each other. Like they maybe have a couple conversations. It's not
Mm-hmm.
great, but
Yeah,
the
they're
show
like
is
friends
better.
in this.
Yeah.
They're like friends, and
Hmm.
I like that.
Hmm.
And friends don't fuck each other over by stealing each other's boyfriends. At least true friends. So hopefully something else happens. That's what I'm hoping for. I know you want to see a recreation of the comics, but I kind of hope they don't get together. I kind of hope they're just platonic friends who fight crime. Can't we have that? That would be fun. Okay, fine. Stop making faces. Jesus.
I didn't say anything.
Your face says it all for you. They can't see your face, but I can.
All right, we can change the subject because one thing I haven't mentioned yet is how good the animation is. It
It's
is
great.
such a step up. Like the character models seem cleaner. I don't know what it is, what they did to the animation to make it smoother, but it maybe it's just budget because they got a lot more budget and just animators working on this show because of how popular season 1 was.
I hope they treated their animators well.
Oh god, I hope so.
I hope so. We'll have to look into that. But, I really love 2D animation when it's done right.
Oh,
Like when it can be just gorgeous and so much fun to play with and to see these super powered characters doing shit. It's great. And the backdrops, the backgrounds
oh,
of every scene. It's so
detail.
interesting because they're so detailed. They're so much more detailed than the character models, than like certain
Mhm.
than things that you would assume to be. Like the rest of the show is very, I'm not going to say basic, but it's
Nah.
like what you expect to see when you see 2D
It's
animation.
it's kind of
And
also
then
designed to look like a simple 2D kids show with, just simple
yeah.
lines, simple strokes.
Yeah, and it's designed to look exactly like the comic book. Like it
Yeah.
comes right off the
Oh,
page. Like just because I didn't
100%.
read the comic book, I have seen it, and it looks exactly the same as it does
Hmm.
in the books. But the backgrounds are just gorgeous. Like in this
Oh,
episode, there was a
wow.
mountainscape, and it was beautiful. And that mountain where we see, it's a different mountain, but that mountain where we see Mark's blood
Still there.
from still there from when his father beat the shit out of him and almost decimated him into a million little pieces of Mark,
Yeah. What, 17 more
Beautiful.
years? God,
God, oh God, it's terrible. He's just like beating the shit out
it
of him.
hurts.
Anyway, the landscapes are gorgeous.
Mhm.
Uh,
They spent a lot of money on this season, and I am so
yeah.
happy because apparently there will never be a break as long as we had between season 1 and 2.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure COVID was because of that.
Yeah.
Or that's why
But
there was so long.
but I'm also not entirely convinced, but more hoping they have the future planned out really well for how this show is mapped
Yeah.
and just timeline wise.
Other than that, yeah, like I'm really excited to see where season 2 goes.
Hmm.
The
mean,
Mahler twins are back out there again on the loose.
we got so many
As
other
they always
villains
are.
like the
Yeah.
Flaxons, those
Oh
people
yeah.
from a different kind of their time acts differently than ours, and they're trying to
Yeah.
invade. We got
Oh, but he killed them all, didn't he?
oh no,
Nolan.
they see Nolan as the scourge of their planet, and they're going after
Oh.
him.
Oh, okay.
And we also
Fun.
have a crazy gravity man at the center of the earth. We got Titan leading the underground. We got Martians. There's a whole lot of villains coming.
Fun.
And
Exciting.
I also want to just say, I guess, 2 words: the Invincible War. I really cannot wait for that.
I feel like you're spoiling what's
No,
to come.
no, you know. Maybe there's gonna be some weird orbs floating around in the next few episodes.
What? Stop it! Stop it! Stop spoiling it for me.
I also, oh my god,
I don't
have
wanna
to
know
say
what
this.
happens.
I have to say this. I cannot wait for Conquest. If that is this season, oh my god. I want to see Conquest.
All right. I want everyone out there to know I have no idea what he's talking about.
And I'm being vague on purpose, but if you know, you know.
Good. Be more vague.
And with that, let's move on to the consumption corner, where we're just starved for content.
Num 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 num.
Sasha, what have you been consuming lately? And I hope it's Loki.
It is Loki, but I don't want to talk about it until another time.
Yes, until probably next week.
Until another time, until the future.
But the future can be any point, Sasha.
I have been consuming. What have I been consuming? You know what? After I watched all those Brooklyn Nine-Nine Halloween episodes, I just started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine again.
Great show.
Definitely
a good recommendation. Fun. I love
so
Brooklyn
much fun.
Nine-Nine.
Another great time to see Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
It all connects. And he's also gonna be in the new Percy Jackson show. He's gonna be Dionysus. So
I forgot about that.
I
That is
forgot
so
too.
perfect.
I forgot all of the casting, and then I saw like an Instagram post about it, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so chaotic and awesome.
Perfect.
Anyway, not that I'm putting too much of my hopes and dreams on that show. We'll just have to wait and see. I have been. What else have I been consuming? You know, I've been tired. I've been sleeping a lot.
I'm pretty tired. I'm going
Yeah.
right to bed after this.
Me too. I'm still reading Battle of the Labyrinth. I took a long break. I did not read it for a little while. So I'm still on that book. And, you know, just been watching just things here and there. I'm getting my friend into Our Flag Means Death, so I'm rewatching
Nice.
the beginning of that.
Gotta
what about
do that.
you?
I was watching it week to week, and I watched the season finale a few days ago for Gen V. And Sasha,
Oh.
this show isn't just a necessary watch. This show is a fantastic watch.
Is it? Okay.
Definitely
I keep
watch
saying
Gen
I'm going to
V.
watch it. I keep saying I'm going to watch it, and I love The Boys. I really do. It's a great show. But I haven't had the urge to watch it yet. So at some point, I definitely will.
No, but this show is fantastic. I love it so
Interesting.
much.
Okay. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a watch. There's one time when I'm gonna be feeling very chaotic and violent, and I'm just gonna be like, this is the mood, this is the time, this is when I'm gonna watch it. It'll be soon. I can feel it coming.
Well, honestly, I can't think of too much else that I've been consuming lately. Some video games, but I could probably talk about that later. But with that, this has been
an Invincible podcast. Wait, I didn't say podcast right. Podcast. Fuck.